Hey, welcome to another episode of Ask a Photo Pro with your friendly neighborhood host. It's me, Cardi Party. Today we are talking about a very common problem that photographers have. Maybe you're on social media and hating it. And a lot of photographers hate social media. Like me, I hated social media. And the reason that I say hated, as in past tense, is I shifted my approach. Actually shifted my approach to social media. And when I shifted my approach, what ended up happening is I actually started to get real growth on social media. How many of you watching right now have been on Instagram for over a year and don't have more than 1,000 followers? Anybody on Instagram longer than a year without 1,000 followers? That's harsh, right? If that's you, today's definitely for you, for sure. It's challenging. It's very challenging to stand out in a crowded market. Believe me, Instagram is like the most popular app. And for a photographer, it's also the most popular app for photographers to showcase your work. So how do you stand out in that crowded marketplace? That's the question. And photographers have that question, as so they should. So today we're getting into just that. And I have one way that I do it, and I think that you should be doing it the same way. Personally, I think that you should be doing it the same way. And I'm going to write it down. Let's just unlock the iPad here. There's one way. And it's called magnetic messaging. That, if you're a photographer, if you're a creative, whatever it is that you're doing on social media, if you're trying to get if you're trying to get your services, if you're trying to sell something, if you're just trying to be out there and let the people know, and you're just posting and wondering why you're not getting traffic, why people aren't following you, it's because you're not doing this one thing. You're not creating magnetic messaging. Magnetic messaging. What is that? What it is, it's crafting messages that resonate deeply with your exact audience. And it makes your content irresistible. Irresistible. It makes you magnetic. If you can learn how to make content that's specifically for your audience, now you start to become irresistible. And how you do it, it's super, super easy. This is how you do it. Number one, thought leadership. You're trying to be a thought leader. So you have to actually offer a unique perspective, a unique challenge for the industry. Challenge the status quo. Reflect on the common beliefs in the industry that you see different. I think that photographers that just pick up their camera and start are, I don't know, probably likely to fail. That's my take. That's me taking a stand. And oh my God, you're going to get up in arms and leave all your comments. You know, it's like, I'm a thought leader in this industry, in this space. So reflect on common beliefs that might be, your perspective might be a bit different than what everyone else thinks. Position yourself as a thought leader in your specific niche. So thought leadership. This is the first thing. You have to be a thought leader. Next, connections via shared identities. So what do you have do you have any common ground? Do you have common ground with the people who you're following or the people who are following on you? When you're authentic and you find common ground, it makes it super easy for you to make comments and share back and forth with people. and it creates a bond with your audience. So if you're not trying to be a thought leader on social media, and you're not trying to find common ground with the people who are following you, what are you doing on social media? What are you doing with social media? Another way that you can demonstrate magnetic messaging is by showing your authority. We can show authority. You can show your expertise. And as a photographer, there's no greater way than to show your work. You're showing your authority. So the way that you post and the way that you talk about what you're shooting is super as important as shooting and sharing. You can't do the sharing without the thought leadership, without showing authority, without finding common ground with people. It's how you do magnetic messaging. So these are questions that when you're trying to be a photographer, when you're trying to be a professional creative, there's key questions that you have to ask yourself. And these key questions are related to your niche. They're related to everything. They're all who questions. Well, not all of them. First one's a who question. Who? Who's your target audience? Who is your target audience? Who are you speaking to? Once you understand who your target audience is, becomes super easy to write magnetic messaging for those people. Are you a wedding photographer? Guess who you're writing your magnetic messaging for? The bride, because the bride is the decision maker when it comes to the wedding. So, write magnetic messaging and hits on this next thing, which is, what is their biggest pain point? What's the pain point? Oh my God, I hate the process of choosing the right photographer. Pain point. So if you're dealing with a client who you know, because you read their social media, that they hate finding photographers, make it easy for them. Recommend yourself, and also give them 4 other photographers that they could call as well that's not you, from 4 other different niches. So you need to look for pain points. That's how you write magnetic messaging. What is someone struggling with? And then why? Why have they failed in the past? Why have they failed? Oops. Once you actually start to put this together, this is how you learn how to read the market. Look at why they failed before. And you can ask them. You can actually ask people. It helps you position your service as unique and effective as a solution for them. So, why have they failed before? The next one. What do they need to believe in order to invest in you? What do they need to believe? They need to believe that I'm going to change their lives with this photo shoot. Once you start to figure out the answers to these questions, you can address what they need to believe in your messaging, in your emails, in your social media posts. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So, and also, what's your unique angle? What's your unique angle? Why you? When you start to put this stuff together, it makes your messaging super, super easy. So as a photographer, what do you do? What do you do? You analyze your audience. You actually really learn who it is that you're trying to work for and who it is that's following you. Are they aligning? Who is it that you're following? Are you following the people who you want to work for? If you're not following only potential clients that you want to work for, then you don't even get to see what they're doing. So how are you able to actually create something that's different from what they're doing, but that also applies? So analyze. That's the first thing that photographers have to do. We have to analyze the audience. This is like an everyday thing. Analyze your audience. Deeply understand your audience's pain points, their needs. You want to know what your ideal photographer customer needs. What's their pain points? What are they struggling with? And how you find this out is by leaving comments, by DMing people, by asking questions, by engaging. Join forums that literally go on Facebook. I hate Facebook, but there's a reason to go on Facebook. It's because if you're shooting families and babies and that weddings, that's where that's Facebook land. So be in there, join wedding groups, join brides groups, and start learning about their pain points. And then you can create messaging right back to them, for them. So after you analyze your audience, it becomes very easy to craft your unique message. And we all have very unique messages and unique offerings. So after, craft your unique message. It's very incredibly difficult to say one thing while you're writing the other. I don't know if you've ever tried that before. Craft your unique message. And it's based on all the research that you've done before. After you've done the analysis, now you can craft your unique message. And you're able to now address in your unique message their needs and their pain points. And how you do that is by sharing stories. Stories. Oh my goodness. You share stories. I'm about to share a couple of stories that are I'm going to show you how I used those stories. And you use this storytelling to make your messaging more relatable and engaging. You understand? What's the year? How about this one? In 2004, I walked away from Kanye West. Are you engaged? Do you want to know the rest of that story? In 1997, I photographed Tom York from Radiohead. A week before they released OK Computer. They won 5 Grammys after that release. It was the most important photograph of my career. Do you want to know that story? In 2010, I photographed Colin Firth 1 week before he won his Oscar. We talked about iPhones. Do you want to know that story? What I'm doing right now is sharing stories, but I'm also using this thing called hooks. And photographers forget that we have to hook people. If we're not using hooks, we're not going to get anyone's attention at all. No one's going to look at your photograph if you didn't hook them. You got to hook people. That's what the headline did when the newspaper was extra, Al Capone captured for tax evasion. Like, headlines. Those are our hooks. So how you create magnetic messaging is by understanding, like, you got to grab people. You got to catch them. And with writing, it's much like our photography. The thing that's great with our writing, it's like making a video. And I say so much about video as a weapon. You got to use video because this video becomes a sales tool. Once you record a video that's actually hitting your target audience's pain points and put that out there, it's now just there working for you. And in that video, if you have a call to action and ways people can reach you, now you're creating clients just from your messaging. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on Threads. You can do it on LinkedIn. You can do it absolutely everywhere. You can do it in every single email. Your subject line of an email is a hook. Here's the best subject line that I wrote, like in the last little while. You're fired. That was it, period. That was my subject line. That email got a 75% open rate. 75% open rate. And then I went on to tell a story and using magnetic messaging through the entire thing. So share stories and use hooks. It makes it more interesting to hear what you're saying and make it relatable. Like, that's the thing about hooks, is that you hit people with a pain point right off the bat and it's relatable. Aren't you tired of not making money with your camera? Isn't this starting to feel like the world's most expensive hobby? 2 hooks. Aren't you tired of not making money with your camera? Don't you think that your wife's gonna get kind of pissed off at you if you don't make money at this? If you don't, it's gonna end up being the most expensive hobby. I'm hooking you. I'm using magnetic messaging in the way that I speak to you. So you have to do this. This is how you catch people. So once you've hooked them, give them a story. Give them a story. Relate to them. Make common ground. And funny enough, the people who, when you write this messaging, you're targeting a specific type of person who is your potential client. Those people will be hooked by that. It's like putting out fly paper that everyone else flies by, but the people who are relating to that, they stick. So that's how you get your customers. You can do it with no followers. And then once you catch them, what do you do? What do you do? You educate them. You educate and inspire. That's what you do. Once you catch them, you educate them. Hey, you know what? If you keep your car outdoors and it's painted red, the paint will fade. So stop going to cheap dealerships and asking for your cars to be painted red. In fact, don't drive a red car. What? Now I'm educating you through telling a story. Maybe you were going to buy a red car. And guess what? Everybody else who wasn't going to buy a red car, that information just flies by them. But people who have a red car or people who are thinking about buying a red car, they're also like, oh, I better be able to store it in a garage at work and in a garage at home, so it's not under the sun all the day. So once you get them, you educate them and you inspire them. And you offer them valuable content about their exact pain points. Like, super easy, difficult, but easy. Offer valuable content about techniques, trends, insight. And again, you're trying to be a thought leader. So do all that thought leader stuff that I talked about a few minutes ago. You're educating and you're inspiring. That's what you're doing once you hook them. Here's the next thing, is when it comes to relatable stories, is that you're not selling your services. This is why people don't work. You're not selling your services. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a wedding photographer. Would you like me to take your wedding pictures? Matt, no, I'm good, Matt. Thank you. How about this one? I'm going to do a flip. If you don't hire me to photograph this wedding, it's probably going to be the biggest mistake of your life. How about that one? How about that one? Now you're like, oh shit, if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. It's like this. If you don't let me shoot this magazine cover, whoever else is shooting it is the wrong photographer. I'm the guy for this subject. Me. Nobody else. So understand, like, you're not selling your creative services, you're selling the transformation. The person that your subject will be after. You're not selling. It's the transformation. Because now everybody believes in a transformation. Honestly, everybody believes in a transformation. If you touch this remote, you'll lose 30 pounds. If you touch it, here, just touch this remote, you'll lose 30 pounds. You understand there's someone at home right now reaching, trying to touch their screen. I'm selling the transformation. If this, then that. If you do this, then this will happen. So people aren't interested in services. They're interested in the transformation. What will happen if I do this? Oh, if you buy a MacBook Pro instead of owning a PC, you'll probably look like a creative instead of look like an accountant. How about that one? It's perception. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways that you can mess with magnetic messaging. So this is how you sell a transformation. This is how you sell a transformation. Because you're probably like, well, how do I sell a transformation? Well, you have to know your audience intimately. Like, not intimately, but intensely. You got to really know who you're speaking to, who would hire you. And again, it goes back to the who. If you don't have a niche, none of this works. If you don't have a niche, photography doesn't work. How about that? I mean, you can take all the pictures you want, but no one will pay you for them. If you're trying to make money, keep listening. So you have to know your audience intimately. And once you understand your audience, it makes it easy to create magnetic messaging. Super easy. You know their desires, their pain points, and how they react to certain things. When you have that deep insight, you're able to craft messages that resonate on an emotional level with people. You can write emails that resonate on an emotional level with people. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And when you write and connect with people on an emotional level, let's go, Gaming Saves Lives, back for 3 months. I appreciate you. When you write and connect with people on an emotional level, they can't help but remember your story. So next, craft a compelling story. That's the next thing. Stories are so powerful, so powerful. They captivate an audience. They create an emotional connection, and that makes your content more engaging. When you incorporate stories, personal anecdotes, narratives, it highlights relatable struggles, and those resolutions greatly impact your messaging. It's beautiful. Focus on emotion. With your photography business, you're trying to create an emotion with all of your posts. You're trying to create desire. You're trying to create curiosity. You're trying to create fear even. Emotionally charged content is what we remember. It deeply connects with your audience. It goes beyond just facts and figures. Oh my God, if you shoot me, then, you'll have photos now. Awesome. You're tapping into feelings, desires, experiences of your audience. It makes your messaging authentic. Because believe me, no one cares about your photo. Nobody. So you have to make them care. And how you do that is with magnetic messaging. That's why it's why it's like and again, you can't just do photography and think that it's going to work. You have to write, you have to make videos, you have to do so much. The next thing is clarity. In a world filled with information overload, being clear and concise is vital. Package one, one look, one final photo, 100 images. If you want extras, they're $50 each. Okay, clear, concise. I know exactly what I'm getting there. Once your audience understands your message, they stay engaged. It's like when you're like, okay, well, I got package 7 is this, and then package 9 is this, and then package 12 is this, and oh my God, you can do this add-on, and then that, and then you can add on this, and then this, and a la carte. It's like, oh my God. It's like people aren't hiring you because it's just too confusing. Seriously, be clear and concise. This approach makes it easier for them to act. Make your call to actions so low friction. Low friction. For me, push a button, you get a link, you put in your appointment, and it's like you literally next thing you know, you're talking to me for 15 minutes in one of our discovery calls. It's like low friction. Everything with me is low friction, and that's all part of building systems. You build systems for low friction. So clarity, conciseness. Next is offering value and solutions. Your audience is always looking for something valuable, and that doesn't mean something low price, but valuable is something that it's so valuable. It's called the irresistible offer. Read Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers. I read that book, changed my life. $100 Million Offers. Read that book. Honestly, you learn about creating an irresistible offer, and that irresistible offer could cost $10,000. But it's irresistible because what they get for that $10,000 will make them 20, will make them 30, will make them 50. So your messaging should consistently provide that value, whether it's in the form of actionable insights, practical tips, entertaining stories, or thought-provoking ideas that actually take a stand on one side of the fence or the other. And we're trying to build trust. We're trying to build trust and authority. So when you're trying to create magnetic messaging, you have to establish yourself as a credible and trustworthy source. How do you do that? By bringing value to people every day for free, and by being transparent. You heard me say so many times, transparency is the new meta. Transparency is the new meta. Tell people everything. And when I'm shooting people, oh, I'm moving this light over here because it's going to take away the wrinkles right here. Oh my God, I'm going to light you like this. Oh my God, you're going to look like Kate Moss. It's going to be sick. Oh, I'm going to put the light like this. I'm lighting you. It's going to be so rugged. You're going to look like Brad Pitt. Like, I explain the why about every single thing that I'm doing in my process. It makes the subjects feel like they're a part of your process. Move over just a bit. Your elbows going out of the frame. Oh, okay, now I understand. Put your chin on a table. It's giving you a double chin when you pull your face back like that. Give them the reasons why. Be transparent about everything. And then in just hanging out with you, people are actually learning. People are learning just by you saying words because you tell them the reason why after every single thing. I'm wearing this jacket today. Why? Because I'm tired of showing you guys just me in a black t-shirt. And also, why? Because there's power in personal style. And also, why? Because I'm 53 years old and it's important for me at 53 to not have a 53-year-old mindset or dress like I'm 53. Why dress your age? Dress how you feel. And I feel like this. So you're trying to build trust and authority. So establish yourself as a credible and trustworthy source. Engage and interact. Honestly, engagement is key with magnetic messaging. Like, there's comments on all your photos. See those people, look at their photos, see if they're another photographer. If they're another photographer, look at their photos and do a little photo critique for them the way that I do for you. Help them. Be like, hey, I noticed that like when you do this, you're cropping this way and like you're like, just pass it forward, pass it along, you know, super easy. So engage. Engagement is key with magnetic messaging. It's about creating a dialogue with your audience, inviting participation. How many times have you asked for comments when you make a post? Hey, I'm posting 3 pictures. Let me know below what your favorite of the 3 are. Which one do you like? Are you okay with the order that I showed them to you? Would you have rathered me show you the last one first? Engage with your audience, ask them the questions, and then make adjustments and give them back what they asked for. Do that for your audience. Your audience will always be there. So you have to interact. Genuinely show interest in their responses and their feedback. Foster relationships. Learn how to foster relationships with just other photographers instead of being like, foster relationships with other people who are trying to do what you're doing. Put them on me. If I help you, put another photographer on me, because maybe I can help them. And like, now you're building community. And then now when that photographer learns something, finds something, sees someone who's cool, he'll be thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to share that with that photographer who shared something with me. Transparency is the new meta. Transparency is the new meta. So engage, interact, and show genuine interest in people. You can't be a hermit and then think that you're going to be a working photographer. You can't be like this at home on your own and not bringing any value to people, and then just putting your pictures on social media and wondering why you're not money falling out of your pocket. You're not doing any of these things. And then you got to test and analyze and optimize. Measure the effectiveness of your messaging. Where it works, hey, you know what? I notice when I make clips from my podcast episodes, they're way more effective on Instagram and on TikTok than they are here on YouTube. I analyze, I look at the data, I adjust accordingly. So continually measure the effectiveness of your messaging and make adjustments based on feedback and analytics. This process ensures that your messaging is actually effective and getting to the right people. So these are just some little hints on things that you can start to incorporate into your messaging. You can effectively sell a transformation. This approach is about connecting on a deeper level with your audience and understanding their needs and desires and offering them a clear path to getting there. And it's usually going to end at you. Coaching, mentorship, digital products. There's so many different ways that you can learn how to make it as a working pro. But it all starts with the work. It all starts with knowing what you're shooting and who you're doing it for. But once you know that, magnetic messaging, it's an essential tool in marketing. Brands do it, especially brands who work with creative professionals like photographers. It hinges on communicating value in their in all their advertising and marketing in a compelling and a memorable way. That type of marketing and that type of messaging focuses on who you help, the problems that you can solve, and the results that you can create for people, and why a client might choose you over another photographer. That's the stuff that you should be shining your flashlight on. It's about being specific and clear about what makes you unique, why your offering is unique, and the benefits from working with you, the client will experience. So let's look at some real world examples of effective messaging, shall we? Let's look at some real world examples. And I'm going to show you some of the places where I do it. I'm going to start with right here on YouTube. Right here on YouTube, I do it. I write magnetic messaging. So here's my latest one. It says setting intentions. Okay. Now I have a community board on YouTube, and I use my community board like my own personal social media feed. Okay. So setting intentions. I set an intention. ... So I know it's truncated, but you're compelled to click read more. You're just dying to. So you read, and oh my God. Listen to this. I put aside all non-essential tasks and focused only on making my channel work. After a year of hard work, I realized what I was born to do on YouTube. Once you realize what you're born to do, the universe opens up and plays in your favor. The hard thing is, when you're not doing what you've been put here to do, the universe also opens up, this time to conspire against you until you decide to do the work and actually live your ideal life. There's lots of up and downs along this journey, but I've always been out there doing it with my camera, living this life I love and doing what I feel I was put here to do. In the darkest rooms, it only takes the dimmest of candlelight to bring vision to any situation. I know that I was put here to capture the faces of today's generation. And with my YouTube channel, I was put here to help fellow creatives realize their abilities, show them their light, and help them find a way out of their own personal darkness while I share how I found my way out of mine. You do have the power to set your intentions and to first get yourself out from under your boss's umbrella and then start seeing the world like the boss you actually are. Bright lights and inspirational creators can bring clarity to your darkness. They are everywhere. Thoughts become things. The small choices that you made yesterday is the reality that you're living today. Once you shift your mindset, you'll see the opportunities to bring value to others with your camera everywhere. Soon you'll realize what you're actually supposed to be doing. And you're not supposed to be taking. You're actually supposed to be making. You're supposed to be actually creating. Make something specific that solves a specific problem for a specific niche, and you'll never stop working. If you try to be the photographer for everyone, you'll end up being a photographer for no one. Once you catch up to your future self's ideal vision for you, God's plan for you, all this shit falls into place. Hey, by the way, you can read the full post here. So, do you understand? I'm now completely hooking you to need to click that link. You need to click that link. And by the way, for people who didn't click, see more. For people who didn't click, see more. I don't need those people. I only need the people who saw me and stopped, because those people are going to be your customers. The people who register with you. So many photographers don't ever put pictures of themselves in their social media. I got to tell you, if you do your social media the way that I do, you will 10 times how many people are watching you, how many people are engaging with you. You want to see another one? Look at this. This is how an emerging photographer can achieve financial success. Embarking on a career in photography is an exciting blend of your work, commerce, and technology. This journey is not just about taking photos, it's about deeply understanding and mastering your craft. It's a path where passion meets profession and creativity aligns with technical skills. Your talent and skill is just the beginning. Technique is the ability to turn that talent and skill into money. That is true mastery of this craft. Mastery is the art of turning your talent into your full-time career. And I'm obsessed about teaching talented shooters just how to do it. Today's post is dedicated to guiding photographers on how to achieve mastery in their craft and turn their passion into a profitable, fulfilling career. Again, tell me you don't want to click that post. Tell me you don't want to click that post. It's because I'm doing magnetic messaging. And if you're not doing this, you're not doing anything with your social media. How about this one? Fall in love with who you are as a creative. The most beautiful person in the room is the one that loves themselves and creates the space for others to do the same. The one that aims for constant improvement and helps others do the same. Tell me you don't want to read more. Tell me you don't want to read more. So this is magnetic messaging. And again, there's always a call to action. Who does a 33-year-old pro look to when things are getting kind of out of control? Master one skill deeply, apply it broadly, and watch it open more doors than superficial knowledge ever could. Tiago Forte. By letting go of the idea that we know everything, or somehow should, we actually feel more powerful. Ali Abdaal. Wake up, hit snooze 4 times, stare at your phone, roll out of bed, make coffee, sit in traffic. 8 hours of unfulfilling work. Sit in traffic again, argue with your significant other, walk the dog, watch TV, pass out, repeat. This should scare the shit out of you. This is Dan Coe, and this is Dan Coe, his magnetic messaging. And this guy, that's me telling you, these are 3 creators that I go to when I feel like I needed a second brain. I found Tiago Forte. When I felt like I needed more hours in the day and more hours in the week, I needed a productivity expert. Thank God for Ali Abdaal. But last but not least, the young beast that is Dan Coe. I found him at a time when I was really needing to turn myself into a one-person business, a content machine, one that brings value to every table attend. So these are people who I watch, and I made a post to bring value to you, the people who are watching me right now. And that's just what I do in my community feed on YouTube. So what about X? Let's look at X. You can do the same thing on any platform. Fall in love with who you are as a creative. And then it's a thread. And then I reply to that thread. And then I reply to that thread again. So you're making threads with your tweets, and then they get incredible engagement. And you can do it on threads. This is what I posted today, like literally just before the episode. So you can actually do this magnetic messaging every time you do anything. There's only 2 reasons to buy gear. I buy gear that either makes me money or saves me money. I've unveiled my trusted gear list that's captured a lifetime of unforgettable moments. Discover the tools that have been my allies in every shoot. Yes, they're just tools, but they've transformed my photography journey. Now you can click the link. Do you understand? This is magnetic messaging. If you're not doing this with every single thing you post, I've gone through some dark times in my 30-year career. The problem? I didn't know how destructive my yearly cycle actually was. So, do you understand? This is to get you to watch a video that I just made. Like magnetic messaging. Every single place that you write, you can be using magnetic messaging, and it'll change your life. It'll change your career. It'll change your social media. Think about it. Nike's slogan, just do it. That slogan became the cornerstone of a brand. It reflected on the emphasis of determination, action, and the spirit of overcoming challenges. It's a powerful example of magnetic messaging because it's so concise, it's so memorable, and it evokes a strong emotional response. Just do it. If that person can do it, I can do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Just do it is a prime example of how effective magnetic messaging can transcend mere advertising and become part of a cultural lexicon. It influences attitude. It influences behaviors across a wide spectrum of people. That kind of messaging is why brands and individual creatives, including photographers.
Yes, sir, yes.
This is why we make things. This is why, because a message hit us and deeply resonated so much that it made us pick up a camera and start doing this. Yes or yes. Magnetic messaging. Leveraging magnetic messaging. It means crafting a narrative that resonates with your unique audience. It fits seamlessly with who you are as a person because it's authentic. It's just you being the most you that you've ever been. It's just you tuned to help other people. It definitely involves understanding your client's needs and their preferences and communicating how your services uniquely, specifically meet their needs exactly. So, you got to focus on your target market. You got to highlight your solutions. You got to hit the problems that your clients face using stories. You need to help them or tune their decision-making process. And you also got to be clear and engaging. Like, I'm super clear when it comes to the messaging that I'm trying to get out. And also, the tone that you use has to be the tone that the market that you're trying to work in uses. I don't speak Ebonics. I've never spoken Ebonics because I feel like it lowers the frequency of visible minorities everywhere. And you'll notice now who adopts Ebonics. Yo, man, what you saying, man? What you say, style? Yeah, like, who's adopting Ebonics the most? The people who are the poorest people. And it's unfortunate because communication is our weapon, how we speak. So if you lower your frequency to speak at the level of the people who are around you, if they're a lower frequency people, and that way that you speak carries on into your business dealings, is why you're not working. It's because your packaging and your messaging are just wrong. You understand how to frame a picture to compose something beautifully, but you also have to frame your messaging, and the things that come out of your mouth has to be also framed and aligned with that same picture. And then what you look like and what you stand for also has to align. All of that stuff works together. So you have to have a unique value proposition. We are all making photographs. By the way, Uncle Stu, thanks for the $5. We are all making a unique offering to this industry, all of us. So you need to figure out what your value is, what makes your creativity, your photography stand out, what's making you different. Why are you going to move the needle? Is it your style, your approach, your experience, your decisive moment catching? What's your unique value proposition? What was the reason that you picked up a camera? To do what? I hope it wasn't just to take another photo, because there's too many of them out there already. It better be to change the world with your images. It better be for a specific niche. Telling you, you got to use storytelling. You heard me say storytelling. Engage through storytelling. Share stories about how your work has impacted others. Like, literally, it makes your service more tangible. Yo, this was Homeboy's headshot before. Yo, look at his headshot now that he's done. He's screwed with Cardi. Look at the Cardi headshot. Look at his old headshot. Yo, use comparison in your messaging to show people what their work looked like before interacting with you. So, and also, your visuals can be a part of your magnetic messaging. Your visuals need to be a part of your magnetic messaging. But if you don't know who it is that you're trying to serve, all of this is moot. If you don't have a niche, go back and watch my Find Your Perfect Photography Niche video. Because without a niche, none of this works. It's the second time I've said this episode. And last is call to action. Like, you need to guide your clients on what to do next. Literally, give me $10. Like, that's not what you're saying, but you need to guide your clients. Like, click this link. And by the way, if you want my free pricing guide, because I made my first ebook. Never done an ebook before. My I'm kind of, I don't know. I know this content inside and out. So I make notes for my podcast. So I just took my podcast notes, wrote more, expanded them, and then I just turned that into an ebook, and I'm giving it away for free. And if you go right here in the video description, right here, and click, you'll see pricing guide. Click that, ebook, free. See what I just did right there? That's called a call to action. That's me now telling you what I need you to do. Just go here, click that. Also over here, click subscribe, and over here, click the like button. This is me telling you what I need you to do. You've made it to this far in the video. You're getting all this information for free. Do two things. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And then in exchange for that, I'm going to give you a free pricing guide to help you price your photo shoots effectively for the 21st century. How's that? That's called a call to action. When you craft magnetic messages that resonate with your target audience, it enhances your brand's appeal. It makes you more desirable because you're providing exactly what someone needs. And you only can do that through research. So magnetic messaging. The key to magnetic messaging is your authenticity. This isn't for bullshit artists. And by the way, everything that you see me talking about, all the stuff that I write, it's real. It's from the heart. The last one I'm going to talk about is, and I mean, I'm strong enough in my masculinity to wear nail polish. I don't care what you think about me. Like, I literally don't. I'm also strong enough in my masculinity to say that I actually cried when I wrote this. I cried when I wrote this because it's real. And I wrote it also in 10 minutes. So the last thing I'm going to share with you is the post that I wrote in 10 minutes, like literally Friday, with tears coming down my face because I had clicked on something. Something clicked for me. Everything made perfect sense. And it brought me such joy that I was crying. It made me so happy. Let me read it to you. It goes like this. You're fired. The first time I heard that term, I was about 9. Little did I know, learning what fired meant at such a young age would change my life and my trajectory forever. There's me, by the way, when I was 9. It was 1979. My mom came home from work one day and she started to cry as soon as she sat down on the couch. I'm going to say this. I'm going to do this without crying because you have to understand when I write, I am right in the spot where I'm now that 9-year-old boy. It happens instantly. As soon as I start to write, I'm that kid again. And the fact that I can see that photo of myself, seeing my past self. Okay, I'm going to try to get through this without crying. Let's see. It was 1979. My mom came home from work one day and she started to cry as soon as she sat down on the couch. She just sat and she had her hands in her face and she was sobbing. I was, and I still am, by the way, a sensitive kid. And I started crying immediately. Flash back right now to that moment and it almost has me tearing up as I write this. I wasn't crying at this sentence, but as I went on, I was bawling. I asked her, Mom, what happened? She said, it's nothing, Stephen. It's okay. I said, it can't be okay. You're crying. She wiped her eyes and she looked up at me and she said, my best friend at work got fired today. I said, Mom, what's fired mean? She explained to me through her tears that it meant that the boss, the one that pays everyone at work, doesn't want Marie to work there anymore. And I said, does she still get paid? My mom explained to me when you get fired, it means that you no longer have a job during the day, and no, she would no longer get paid. I asked my mom, well, how's she going to take care of her family? My mom said, fuck. This is where it starts for me. My mom says, right now she can't until she finds another job. I burst into tears. I started crying uncontrollably. I said, that can't happen. It's so unfair. I was angry crying. I got so mad. I was so sad at the same time. And it gave me instant PTSD. As a 9-year-old child, I was suddenly afraid of bosses. My mom saw how traumatic. She saw that she just literally rocked my world. So she tried to wipe her tears away. This is my mom. She's 86 years young. I asked her, can anyone get fired? My mom replied, yes, anyone can get fired, unless you're the boss that owns the company. And you know, that was the only thing that stopped me from crying. I said, no one can fire the boss? My mom said, no, Stephen, the boss owns the business. We all work for him. And literally, you see, I write in quote, I'm just coming to an understanding with what happened to me that day as I write this. I said to my mom later, I've decided what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. She said, what, my son? I said, I'm going to be a boss and I'm never going to get fired. I was 9 when I said that. So this is one of my images. We have like a Times Square here in Toronto. It's called Dundas Square. There's one of my images up in a billboard. I started literally at that. I started skill stacking and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Started delivering papers when I was 11. Sold ice cream when I was 13. And then I discovered photography when I was 14. Now I'm leaving lots of stuff out here. There's so much important stuff in here. But the Cole's notes is, I worked at McDonald's when I was 15. McDonald's is a company built on systems. I saw Vogue for the first time when I was 16. That's when I learned photography was a job. Next year, I shot my first model. But then I also got Crohn's disease. But I didn't know I had it. I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 18. Changed my future, changed my life. And I will talk about that more if you wish. Went to photography school at 19. And when I was 19 and a half, I worked my last job because I quit my photography school, went to Ryerson, best school in the country for photography at that time. I moved out of the house. I quit my job at the camera store. I sold my 4x5 full format view camera. And I moved into the studio. I got published for the first time when I was 20. I got my first studio when I was 21. I shot my first cover when I was 23. I moved to Miami alone for a year to shoot models when I was 24. Started lecturing at photography schools when I was 25. I was on TV for the first time for my photography when I was 26. Shot my first celebrity when I was 27. My career exploded when I was 29, and I started to photograph a lot of celebrities. And then the ups and downs of 10 years in started, but I never gave up. I passed 20 years in. I never, ever took a side job. But when I was 39, I began the very incredibly difficult learning curve to shoot and edit video. Saved my career. Started a YouTube channel, started to upload client videos, made 2 podcasts. My photography business got crazy again, so I stopped making videos. I pushed on. I passed 30 years in, 3 decades. I got published in Vogue when I was 52. 35 years after I saw Vogue for the first time, you can open Vogue and see photos by Steve Carty. And that year, I started my YouTube channel again. So was so lost with it, so lost. But I set an intention. And this little bit of this post, this is what I included to social media. Finally, I set an intention. I put aside all non-essential tasks and focused only on making my channel work. After a year of hard work, I realized what I was born to do on YouTube. Once you realize what you're put here to do, the universe opens up and plays in your favor. The hard thing is, when you're not doing what you've been put here to do, the universe also opens up. This time, it opens up to conspire against you until you decide to do the work and actually live your ideal life. And yes, there's lots of ups and downs during this journey, but I've always been out there doing it with my camera, living the life I love and doing what I feel I was put here to do. And you guys know the rest. I read the rest. This is magnetic messaging. And it's important to know, by the way, you can go to my show notes and see a life behind the camera and read the rest of this blog post. But know that it says in the best book ever written, there are only 3 jobs: slave, soldier, business owner. Still holds true today. So it's the power of magnetic messaging. This is why my blog went from 8 people on my list literally 53 weeks ago, because I wrote I haven't stopped. I started and I've written every Saturday for over a year. Consistency. And I just bring value to people. That's all I want to do. And that list is at 1,300 people. Get that inspiration sent. Welcome, Franklin. Set into their inbox every single Saturday. So there is a way that you can use writing. And the sooner that you embrace it, let's go, Uncle Stu. The sooner that you embrace, it changed my life. I'll tell you, it changed my life. And it'll change yours too if you do it. Every single email I write has a hook in the subject line, because I want people to, and I'm not talking just my newsletter emails. I'm talking about client interactions. I'm trying to ask, what's your pain points? What do you hope to, like, you're asking the right questions. You have to do this all the time. And you got to be a pleasure to be around. You really do have to be a pleasure to be around, because it's creative industry. People with money, they can hire anybody. They can hire anybody. They can hire me to fly into your small market and do the jobs that you should be doing, you know? And it happens all the time. I fly to Cleveland, and I fly to Cincinnati, and I fly to Maryland, and I fly to like Boston, and I fly to LA, and I fly to Miami. I fly all over the place because they want me, because I've created online the value that I can bring for people. And you can do it too. I hope this brought you value today, guys. Make sure that you check out the Cardi Method, which is my professional photographer's education system. Links in the show notes. Magnetic messaging. That's how you are going to change your whole digital realm. I hope you do it, and I hope you start it today. Magnetic messaging. This is how you will literally change your life. It's why you're here. It's why you're watching me. It's because I caught you in my net of magnetic content that is targeted directly to you, the emerging photographer. All I want to do is help you. And if I was pushing out bullshit, you would watch me for 35 seconds and you'd turn away. But I'm not pushing out bullshit. I am giving you the stuff that you need to do. The stuff that you need to do. And I've mapped it out step by step. You can take my masterclass and actually have that mapped out step by step with me. You can do one-on-one mentorship with me, where I map that out with you that way as well. And my upcoming courses, which should be ready when they're ready. I'm not going to drop anything unless it's the best photography course on the internet. Guys, if your name is scrolling across the top of the screen, it's because you're a member and you support this stream. This is why I'm able to deliver commercial-free content. Uncle Stu, you're on the top. If your name scrolled across the bottom, you are a recent subscriber, and I appreciate you dearly. Guys, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting this show, this education system, and me. I love you.